Over the past week, we have seen a preview of what could happen in the upcoming summer and in the coming days. That also includes a summer-like pattern for some thunderstorms. This is a look of what may happen in the next couple of days. There are no National Weather Service watches and warnings up right now because we are too far out. This is a satellite loop of what has happened today, and this will slowly creep up towards the Willamette Valley over today and tomorrow. But right now, most of the thunderstorms are confined to Northern California and Southern Oregon, which has had pretty good activity yesterday. So, in terms of the setup that is occurring over the next 3 days, there is a upper level low pressure system that is going to be situated to our south. I will show that in better detail in a later slide, while a larger low pressure system will eventually overtake that and dive in to the southeast. The key with this is that the low pressure system is moving to the south of us, which is bringing up warmer moisture and a little bit of a monsoonal component, even though it's not a pure monsoonal setup like we see during our summertime thunderstorms. Let's move on to our next slide. This is looking at that upper level trough on Friday in particular. And that darkest blue area is the center of that, and the moisture is going to be wrapping around that and heading up into Oregon like that. A south to southeast flow pattern in the mid levels of the atmosphere with moisture is the most ideal setup for thunderstorms beyond one clap wonders, especially this time of year. We see this more often in the summertime than we do in April, but it's not unprecedented to see that then. And it's hard to tell on this image, but the second low pressure system, the one that is going to become the dominant one, is currently off the screen a little bit to the left here. This is on Saturday. That is now become dominant and merged with the first low pressure system and moved a little bit further to the north in terms of the point of the center. That's still going to wrap around moisture towards our area, but temperatures have cooled down significantly, which is going to lower the instability levels for thunderstorms on Saturday. But because of the amount of sun breaks, I can't rule out one clap wonders, which is more typical for this time of year. The This is going to be fueled by sea surface temperature anomalies as well, being about 1 to 2.5 degrees Celsius off the west coast of North America, south of Alaska. And specifically where that first low pressure system is located, it's tapping into even warmer sea surface temperature anomalies, up to about 3 degrees Celsius above normal. And that warmer sea surface temperature fuels thunderstorms more than colder temperatures. Warmer air holds more moisture, and warmer moisture can create more energy. So, overview of the timeline today, I think primarily central and southern Cascades. A cell might make it into the South Valley. I think the chance of that happening is about 20%, which is enough to toss the thunderstorm graphic on my 7 day. Friday's kind of the main event, as I'll show on the model page here in a minute. Scattered thunderstorm, anyone in Longview and South could see one, 20 to 40% chance depending on your location. Highest further east in the valley, and then about 20% chance on the coast range. On Saturday, isolated one clap wonders. I think this is primarily going to be limited to the northern Willamette Valley just because I don't think the South Valley is going to be getting out the 50s. He's on Saturday. Eugene might even struggle to get out the mid 50s. I will note that we are out of range for the higher resolution models, but both the GFS and the European model are pretty aggressive on this. I don't like to trust them for specific one clap wonder setups, especially because of how small they are. So we'll see how it looks like going into the next couple of days. And then for my last bit of notes, thunderstorms will not happen everywhere in case that was not obvious. If it does happen, get to an indoor facility. I will note that I do not expect severe thunderstorms. I can't rule it out entirely, but the chance is not even enough that I would color a marginal right now. That would mean anything less than a 5% chance of wind gusts of 58 miles per hour or higher. And if that were to happen, about 80% chance it would be in the Cascades, not the valleys. More likely in the Cascades and the eastern Willamette Valley than west of I-5. So this is the model page. I'm going to take a look at the RRFS here. For the interest of time, this is the only one I'm going to show from front of the model to the end of the model, and I'll just show Friday night for the other four models that I have on my tabs here. So going through this, and I'll first stop it late on Thursday afternoon to Thursday evening here. And this model is showing thunderstorms primarily over the Cascades with some showers making it into the South Valley, primarily Eugene. Nothing in this necessarily screams a thunderstorm setup, but I can't rule it out, especially if it's something small. And then it fizzles out as we go into the evening hours. It tries to get up towards the Portland metro area, but I don't think it will. And then moving this towards Friday, we see more development earlier on in the day. This is Friday at 3, and lots of development as we go into the evening hours. So this is Friday at 5 p.m. Lots of development in the eastern Willamette Valley, especially even some in the western Willamette Valley too, as there's a cell right over the West Hills, if you take this model at face value. And that wants to sneak up to right about Longview before fizzling out. And the Puget Sound does get some leftover showers. And then on Saturday, I will note from this point on, it's going to advance every 3 hours instead of every hour. So bear with me on this. It does show some showers going into the Portland metro area. I'll rewind it. Nothing inherently shows thunderstorm off the bat except for this frame here. This is earlier than I would expect for thunderstorms, as this is about 8 a.m., but it is showing some heavier cells in the Southern Valley. I also think it's a little too far south compared to what I'm looking at. And then rain chances die down overnight Saturday before coming back on Sunday. I don't expect this weekend to be a soaker. All right, going on to our other models here. This is the HRRR model. The RRFS will likely replace the HRRR model in the coming years. This is at the end of this model run, Friday at 5 p.m. This is showing some cells in the coast range, most likely some thunderstorms based on the intensity of this, and also over the Cascades, with some getting into the Willamette Valley. So this one's a little bit more aggressive. The HRDPS is showing it primarily along the Cascades. I will note this graphic is a little different because it's showing a 6-hour average precipitation rate versus is a pure or what's happening at any given moment. So this is going to lag behind a little bit. That being said, it does seem to be focused East Valley, the Cascades taking this at face value. And then the North American model. Normally this is the most aggressive model, and it's not super aggressive on Friday at 5 p.m. Even if I move this further to the evening, like let's say I advance this 3 hours, it advances further north, but nothing a whole lot in the Willamette Valley. And then for the Wharf GFS models, it shows that this will primarily be an Eastern Willamette Valley event. The one cell looks like it gets into the Western Willamette Valley. This is a 3-hour precipitation map between in 5 and 8 p.m., most likely hours for this on Friday. And if I'm basing it off the precipitation rate alone, I wouldn't expect thunderstorm to happen, but I can't rule it out based on the setup and the fact that this is southeasterly a flow. And then I'm going to flip over to the Storm Prediction Center here. So first off, their version of the thunderstorm outbreak, and just to show the chance here. Now, I'm seeing this convective outlook for the first time tonight as we flip over to this. So let's start with today's. Oh, okay, there's a marginal that's been added for the Southern Oregon and Northern California coast, but the general thunderstorm risk from the Storm Prediction Center reaches up to the Central Oregon Cascades, and it looks like it advances to about Lynn County, according to them. And then on day two, very similar according to the Storm Prediction Center. So that does tell me there is still enough uncertainty about it that we're not 100% sure, and there are still some kinks to work out. Of course, my forecast has those thunderstorms going a little bit further or north than the Storm Prediction Center implies. So we'll see what happens. We'll get more data tomorrow, so I'll update you tomorrow, assuming I have time to do so. On to our 7-day forecast, I'll start with the southern Willamette Valley. I will note temperatures here are for Corvallis. And I anticipate the next 3 days, Corvallis will be a touch warmer than Eugene before starting to even out as we go Sunday and beyond, though conditions will stay about the same. So for today, I expect high temperatures in the lower 70s with a chance of rain and less of a chance of thunderstorms, just barely enough for me to register the thunderstorm graphic. On Friday, I think there's a better chance of rain and some thunderstorms, but still below 50%. I'm putting the chance of thunderstorms at about 40% average, especially since the valley's not as wide there and more people live closer to the Cascades in the Southern Valley than they do in the Northern Willamette Valley. Saturday, those high temperatures start to plummet, 59 in Corvallis. I'm questioning whether it gets out of the mid 50s in Eugene, and we go into more stereotypical spring-like conditions with off and on showers beyond with a dry day on Tuesday and high temperatures struggling to get into the upper 50s and low temperatures staying in the low 40s. For the Portland metro area, I think today will be mainly dry for the entire day. I can't 100% rule out a shower, but it's not enough for me to register any rain or thunderstorm graphic, unlike tomorrow where I do have the thunderstorm graphic, even though the average chance is about a 30%. Again, that's about 40% if you live closer to like Sandy or Staten, and about 20% if you live in Forest Grove or McMinnville. High temperatures will be in the low to mid 70s on both days before temperatures start to crash, similar to the South Valley, but you'll be a little bit slower. Mid 60s on Saturday, mid 50s on Sunday, and then high temperatures stabilize in the mid to upper 50s as we go back into stereotypical spring-like conditions. On Saturday, I am using the thunderstorm graphic just because the chance of thunderstorms is 20%, and it's just barely high enough for me to register it. That's also why it's starred, but it would be very isolated, and again, most likely the one clap wonder type system, not sustained cells. So that is it for this video. Assuming I have time, I will come out with another video tomorrow on this to see where the models lie. So until then, stay safe out there and take care.